Ladies and gentlemen, it is time once again. You know what? I forgot to turn my sleep token on in the background, but that's okay. I am here with Hunter JJX. How are you doing, my man?
I'm doing okay, man. I'm a little sleepy, a little sleep deprived. 3 kids slash jet lag, tour lag, all that. Funny you bring up sleep token. It is, I guess, sleep token release weekend, sleep token release week, which is cool, I guess. There's a lot of freaking music coming out right now, so I'm like trying to like keep track of everything going down.
There really is.
It's also like a weird week for HCS and Halo, right? It's like the week before the event. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like there's not really any opens or anything like that going on. We got scrims, we got things to talk about, we got drama to discuss, but like it's kind of like the calm before the storm. Everyone's getting all geared up, mentally ready to rock for DreamHack. How about you though, man? How you doing?
I'm good, man. Like I said, I've been vibing with the sleep token music. I too am feeling the sleep deprivation. I don't know what it is. I even saw a comment, I think, tweeting about the lack of sleep since Arlington. Like, I don't know if there was some invisible plague that went around that just makes everybody sleep deprived after the event. But yeah, I've been struggling, but it's okay. We're here. I'm hyped. I'm excited. Halo. There's a lot going on, even if there's no tournaments or anything like that. Just like you said, there's been a little bit of drama. There's been a little bit of people trying to stir the pot and create some drama, and then obviously scrims and stuff going on as everyone puts in the final prep work to be the best that they can be for DreamHack Dallas. So, what do you want to talk about first?
I want to talk about sleep token actually. What do you think of that record?
Oh my gosh, bro, it's a masterpiece. Chef's kiss.
Okay.
Chef's
It's
kiss.
it's funny. I'm not gonna say it's bad. I think it's good. It's a really weird, like, for me to like put this in the words. It's like safe for them, but
Really?
even their safe is like way more creative than everybody else. Like, because
Yeah.
I feel like if you go to their first couple records, like Sundowning and all that stuff, you go through that whole situation. Each record was like a leap. You know what I mean? Like each record added something that was like a new expansion of their sound. Whereas this one, I feel like was a little bit more like we kind of know who we are. We're kind of refining that. A lot more like that trappy, sing
Yeah.
rappy stuff that he does. So it's a little safer than I was initially expecting, but nonetheless, I still enjoyed it. I still got to get like a couple more listens in because when you have songs that are 6 minutes long, like I can't just like do a once over and know like what's what and what's good and what's not.
Yeah.
So, but I'm enjoying it. The timing was just it was interesting because I was I was texting one of the guitar players from Caskets because we were talking about the track that we just dropped last week. And
Fantastic, by the way.
thank you, bro. I'm stoked about it. And I was asking him, I was like, "Yo, how are the numbers doing on the song?" And he was like, "I'm not really sure, to be honest. It's sleep token week. We'll see." So it's like everybody just like clearing out, getting out of the way for them. But yeah, lots of new music popping right now.
Yeah, I was actually telling my friends about that too. Like, it feels like such a good time in music because you've got all of these, but you've got Caskets releasing new songs. You've got Token dropping their album. Day to Remember dropped their stuff not too long ago. You've got like all of these bands dropping new songs. I even saw today, I don't know if you remember the Throwback Adept. They dropped a new song. Like,
yeah,
bro, it's been 10 years since they've dropped a song and they dropped a new one like yesterday. So it's a crazy time in music, but it's definitely sleep token time. But yeah, man, it's so good. It's so good. I don't know how you say like them shifting to a very heavy R&B vibe with metal as the accoutrement of that style is safe. But you know what? You know more about music than I do.
I meant it's safe for them. It's not safe for anybody else. It's like, but for them, it's like, okay, like when I picture Sleep Token in my head, it pretty much sounds exactly how that record does. You have the songs where it's all piano-y, really pretty, and then all of a sudden it just like hits you right at the end, like super hard. They've been doing that since the beginning, but then they have like the ones with all the trap electronic drum beats and stuff on there. There's a couple like shockers. I really like that Caramel song. I know it was like a single or whatever, but it's got the beat of my people. It's got that island beat in there, so I really enjoyed that. But yeah, why don't we dive it? Let's talk some Halo. A lot, like you said, a lot going on. We're gonna check in on scrims. We're gonna check in on see who's doing hot and who's not. But beforehand, I know you wanted me to chat a little bit. There was a little bit of drama that went down on Twitter this week. A little Halo drama, which is always funny to see. But interesting enough to get a little bit of insight into the way some of these team changes went down, right? So,
yeah.
For people that maybe didn't join us last week, could you do us a solid of just catching us up a little bit on the team change that we made?
Yeah, so we, after Arlington, We had, literally the following weekend was the first open. After that open, we decided to make a team change, and we ended up releasing Precision and Huss, both into free agency to do, whatever they so chose, go to wherever they chose. And since then, we've kind of seen some other rosters make some changes. Obviously, LG was making changes. That team had kind of dissolved and gone two separate ways. And there was actually in that open a roster of Collect, Cherished, Avicii, and Yaxon, who won or got second, lost to Space Station in the finals of that open. We took two players from that team, Avicii and Cherish, who are now with Complexity, and they're scrimming right now against Envor and his new team, which is actually that's a team I could see very easily coming out of open bracket, and nobody's talking about them.
Who's on that team?
So it is Envor, it is Super CC, it is FR Ice Kid.
Oh, that kid's nasty, bro. That kid is nasty.
Disgusting. And you have some people like Envor and in Super CC who can kind of, they've been doing it since Fnatic season 1, right? So they know how to get through open bracket. They know how to beat some of these top teams. And then their fourth is actually I don't know how to pronounce it. It's either Luini or Luini.
Yeah, Luini. He was with Gunny before.
Yes. So they've actually got some raw up and coming talent. I've seen his name around a bunch, even if I can't pronounce it. I've seen Ice Kid around a bunch. So I'm very excited to see how this team ends up stacking up. And, I fully expect them to make it out of open bracket.
You just reminded me. Did you see the Luminon? Is that how you say that org? Did you see the Luminon roster announcement that went out?
Yes, I love it. I got told about that the day before, and I was like, no, there's no way that's the roster.
Yeah, dude.
What? No, but yeah, we can touch on that too. I'll find that tweet. But why don't you go ahead and touch on some of the drama?
We released Precision and Huss. Obviously, not an easy decision to make. We love those guys. We have done everything we can also to support them, make sure they find new homes, which they both have. But it was interesting. I saw a couple tweets go out this week. One of my good friends, Hoaxer, that I've gone back with a really long time. Amazing coach, amazing player, great dude, great friend. Was tweeting out a little bit of misconceptions about some drama that had gone down. But apparently, Nick, and we had talked about this last week a little bit. Apparently, Precision and Huss were going to actually try to be a little bit of a package deal, allegedly. And Hoax reached out to Precision, allegedly, and texted him and said, the Precision and Huss duo days are over. And asked him to join the roster. Now, between that and the DreamHack qualifier, somehow that squad ended up with Huss instead. So you can understand now how there's a little bit of people feeling some kind of way about it. But apparently they were running with Precision, and Hoaxer and squad on the fly decided, you know what, we want Huss instead. Swapped him out for Huss, and then tried to get Precision back again. And Precision was like, no, I'm not going to be the backup guy. And that's how he landed on his roster, which we're going to talk about their org announcement and all that later. But shout out to Precision. Definitely, standing on business. I talk about all the time, you don't ever want to be the guy that's the backup option or feel that way, right? You want to be somewhere where you're valued and whatnot. But also shout out to Huss for finding, I feel like everyone kind of worked out as close to best case scenario as possible, right? They're all in pools. Everyone's got solid rosters. But yeah, interesting to see that thing kind of blow up, on Twitter, because Hoaxer was like, I just want you guys to know, we're not being shady, blah, 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 blah. We're not, we didn't drop this person. And then we had girlfriends chiming in. We had, how it is. As soon as Halo drama happens, all the bodyguards come out the woodworks and have to pitch in their 2 cents. But, a little bit of drama there, a little bit of, I'm looking forward. Hopefully they'll get to play each other, right? Let's get some judge matches going on. But yeah, so Precision Huss, that duo is over. Quoted by Hoax, they are now on separate teams. They're both in pools. Which roster do you think for LAN, for DreamHack, Nick, is the stronger between those two?
God, that's such a tough one. There's so many Complexity alumni in this mix.
I know. It's all us.
Yeah, it's on paper, I think firing power, and obviously we've seen online results as well with the qualifier for the pool play qualifier with the newly announced orgs roster. Well, I guess they're both newly announced orgs, but with the Precision roster winning that, There's just a lot of firepower on that Precision roster. Precision and Descendant, obviously, like two people who are, I spent a lot of time with through Complexity, and I have so much faith in them being really strong players on the map. I think Piggy, it can be hit or miss, but I do think he has, when he's feeling that flow and when he's feeling comfortable, he does have the wherewithal to bring that leadership and experience to the team and maybe kind of direct some of these people who just want to go shoot. And then Yaxon, again, hit or miss, but there are times where you can see him pop off and deal a ton of damage or get a lot of kills. And there's times where he might not be as much of a factor, but with Precision and Descendant, how much do you need him to be a factor, right? So I think that they have a really strong roster with that team, as opposed to on the other side, like Collect, obviously a really strong player. I have a lot of faith in Huss. Like, he is kind of that dirty work player, so maybe his stats aren't going to be the best. But then again, like in the qualifier, Huss was dropping big numbers, and I think that's something that is maybe good about him splitting away from Precision. I think Huss plays that supportive role when he knows there's people who are really strong slayers on his team, and I think it almost throttles him back as a player. Whereas when he doesn't have those people, like I remember when it was, our roster of Ryan and Rain, Breaking Shot, and Huss, like on paper, Breaking Shot is your young gun, the guy who's going to get in the mix. Huss was stepping up and right there with them and letting Ryan and Rain be like dictating the pace, doing the dirty work, that kind of stuff. And I think he has it in him, and I know he knows he has it in him. It's just he needs to be on the team where he can kind of let that loose. And so hopefully this team lets him do it. I mean, Ezo, again, young up and coming player. I haven't been too impressed with what I've seen from him on land, if I'm being straightforward and honest, but I do think he has, the ability to step up to that. And then Mortally, obviously, like a veteraned player at this point in Halo Infinite. He's been around for a while, been on a lot of different teams, had a good mixture of placements. So I think they have probably the roster that was put together a little bit more sloppily, especially based on what we saw on Twitter. But so that might be an issue in terms of like, how do they find their chemistry? How do they find their mix and their groove and their style as a team? But I can still see them, putting in work because they have the talent there.
Yeah, I when I look at both these rosters, like I have concerns and strong points for both, obviously, like I would with any roster. I don't like to break Halo players down into roles, like being like, oh, he's an objective player, or oh, he's a main slayer, this and that, because I'm going to catch flack for this. You can clip me and put me on Twitter if you want. I think people made up the term objective player because they sucked and couldn't win their fights. Like, I think that like from day one, like back in Halo 2, Halo 3, oh, I'm just an OBJ player. Oh, you just told me that you can't hit your shots. Thanks a lot. Dropped. But I think that, a good Halo player is able to do whatever they need to do, whatever the moment calls for. However, I'm not going to completely say that people don't fall into like tendencies, right? Like certain players have certain tendencies, not necessarily that like the roles are set in stone, but like, when I look at we know what they are. We'll talk about the org that picked them up. But when I look at that Descendant, Piggy, Precision, Yaxon roster, it's like Descendant, Precision, and Yaxon are all the same player to me when I think about them. You know what I mean? On the map and what they want to do on the map. And then you have Piggy, who's kind of like a more big picture view type of player. And so obviously they've had success already. They won the DreamHack Dallas qualifier. I'm just wondering what's it going to look like when. I think we touched on it a little bit last week, but when, you have a lot of players that like to push lanes by themselves and kind of win the lane out. What's it going to look like when Yak pushes the lane and it's Royal 2 there on the other side and not, blah, blah, blah from open bracket. You know what I mean? Like, I think that changes things a lot when you look at the strength of the upper echelon of teams. And I actually think that Ezo, Huss, Collect, Mortally roster is a little bit more balanced in terms of who's going to be doing what. I still have leadership questions for both of those teams, but I think it might be a little bit closer than you might think. I also know, like, you don't have to say it. You're not the biggest Piggy fan. I am. I'm on record saying I'm a big Piggy fan. I think he's going to crush. But with Ezo, for example, I think, not everyone can have the it's last shot or snipe down or Ola thing where they go to land and immediately just are absolutely dominant. Some guys, it takes them a season or two. Some guys, it takes some time. You know what I mean? Like reps on the main stage, reps at the highest level on land, But I see him, this season especially, kind of breaking out.
Yeah, I can definitely see that too. And to be clear, since you touched on it, because this was like a behind the scenes drama, Piggy and I have talked since Arlington. and I have more respect for Piggy now. I think like in that conversation, he kind of owned up to some of the stuff that he did pre Arlington that put his team in bad spots, and was super humble, even asking my opinion and some like thoughts on, you know, like how do you approach working with up and coming players and stuff like that. So I respected that tremendously. Like whenever a
That's
player
awesome.
can admit their faults and actively work to, you know, get outside input on how to evolve and grow as a player, I think that's really big. So respect and props to Piggy for doing that. You know, we'll see if it was genuine. We'll see if it pans out. But I like to believe, you know, give the benefit of the doubt that it was. But yeah, I don't know, man. Like these rosters, I can definitely see the omit. Oh, sorry. I can definitely see the one roster being more balanced with Collect, Huss, Ezo, and Mortally. I do think there's some magic with the style now that I'm looking at the roster on paper, you know, for the last week or so, that if you look at the players individually, like Piggy's plays are much more. I just said I respect him, so I don't want this to come across as an insult, but it's like a watered down Royal 2, right? Like, you know where he's going to be on the map.
Mhm.
He's going to hold that position down. He's never going to be like G sliding into your face 1v3 and taking 2 with him. Like, he's a controlled kind of player,
100%,
whereas
yeah.
the other 3 can cause chaos. And like Precision is really good at putting himself in advantageous spots for him, and that will lead to him getting kills or just doing a crazy amount of damage that can set his team up for success in fights. Descendant is kind of the same way. Like, you never know when he's going to hit or when he's going to not hit, and because of that, it's hard to predict his flow. Other than live fire, you know he's going to be top tower. So and then Yaxon's kind of the same way, right? Like, he's just in the mix, but it could be late to the mix, it could be early to the mix, it could be right on time. And I think because there's 3 players who are all kind of creating this chaos, if they can control it, if they can be calculated with that chaos, then I think that there's possibilities of them being a really strong unit as a team, or just being like so not on the same page you have no idea what's going on. And it'll just depend on what we see. But I have faith in Precision and Descendant. So I and their coach, obviously, Thug Nasty. I think he's got a really smart brain in the way that he thinks about Halo. So I think that this team will bring it together. Now, do I think they'll beat us? Obviously, I have to be confident in us since they're in our
Of
pool.
course. Of course.
But, you know, I could see this team causing upsets. Absolutely.
How do you think the space station matchup with I know we're going to do a full breakdown of all the matches next week for our pre-event show, but just quickly off top, Incognito Space Station, that's the 4-5 matchup. That's the one that technically on paper should be the closest when it comes to that top 4 echelon. Like, do they have a shot in that series?
I think Space Station has been looking better, and we can touch on that a little bit when we look at scrims. But I also think that Space Station is another one of those teams, especially for the top 4, that you don't know how they're going to be on any given day. And
which is weird to say with an eco team, dude.
Yeah, it's very
Really
weird. But
weird.
even last year, right? You never really knew, unless it was Championship Sunday, what Space Station you were getting. Like, Friday and Saturday for Space Station were often kind of mixy. But Sunday, it was like, oh, the champions are here, right? Like, I don't know if it was the different colored jerseys or what, but like they were locked in on Sundays. And I can kind of see that being true for this team. Whereas, you know, Friday in Arlington, I wasn't impressed. I was more just sad about how like we overperformed and then, you know, sold ourselves out a little bit in some of those games. But I see them getting more consistent in their scrim results, which makes me think Space Station's getting stronger and they're finding their groove. And so could this team beat them? Absolutely. But it'll just, you know, who shows up that day.
I mean, dude, when I'm looking at it, like, you know, we talked about the top 4 being like kind of a lock, you know, in this season. And as I'm looking at the teams now, like even the top 6, bro, like even getting top 6 is incredibly hard, you know?
Yeah.
We throw in teams like TSM who have obviously powered up going back to the old school KCP days. Nemesis, who you were hot on, that I had no idea, Nick, going into that event, like what that team was about, and now I know, like they educated me for sure.
Yeah.
So that you know the Cloud9, like there's just it's insane.
It's tough.
It's an
It's really
insane talent pool, and my squirrel brain just also told me like Luminosity, they're gone again, right?
Yep.
They're out the scene, like
one and done.
Now there's a part of me where it's like, man, that's really unfortunate for that org. Every time they come in, they pick up a roster that vastly underperforms and then dips. But then there's also
Yeah.
the part of me where it's like, well, then stop dipping and actually invest in the scene instead of trying to buy your way into the top. It's just not going to work out. Like, get it together. If you want to be in the Halo scene, you got to know, you got to put roots down. You got to build. Like, I mean, it's not always been great for us, right? But we've kept our roots. We've kept locked in. We've built year on year on year. So yeah, Luminosity kind of clowning around a little bit. Either stick to a roster, jump in, be with us, or don't just try to dive in,
It's tough though, man. Like it's especially right now because a lot of, like you can tell which orgs have the big budgets and then you can tell which orgs don't, right? And I think coming in late, because Luminosity obviously entered the fray a little bit late, like a lot of rosters are already signed, and they picked up, on paper, like if you were just blindly coming into the game, you got the number 5th seed going into the first event. Like that's crazy. Obviously that team didn't perform well, but that's like where the research comes in of like, okay, like, yeah, they have the number 5th seed, but like, how are they really going to stack up on LAN?
Let's look at the resumes.
Yeah. A lot of these guys fight through open bracket every event. So like what's different this time? So, I think that Luminosity, I have respect for them on the org front because they made picking up Advocacy very easy and very seamless, and I appreciate that always. But I also think like, yeah, you're right. Like you kind of have to just like, okay, yeah, there's going to be some sucky times. You got to dig and push through them and keep building if you believe in it. So, maybe they saw an opportunity and it didn't work out, and so it didn't work out. But hopefully they come back.
Yeah, and that's one org out, and we've got 2 new orgs in. Nick, why don't you do the honors and show the people what's been going on in the business world of Halo?
First up, we have our boys at Envy coming in. Now, just keep in mind, this is like Envy/Native.
Native, yeah.
We've got Precision Descendant, Piggy Yaxon, and Thug Nasty, aka Nick. Yeah, good for them, man. Good for them.
I still have my Envy skin from season 1, so I'm glad that it's not completely going to waste. Yeah, I'm glad to see Envy back in the scene. Love the brand. Great ownership over there. It'll be interesting to see how that all goes with Native supporting them. But man, like, what a come up for some of these guys, right? Yaxon only a couple years ago was playing through open. Found his way over to Darkest Hour. Shout out to Talent. Greg, hope he's doing well wherever he's at. And now, in year 4, Yaxon finds himself on what pretty much, has been known to be a tier 1 org in Envy and their resurgence. Obviously, hoping the best for them, but not because they're in our pool. So unfortunately for them, Envy's probably going to have to settle for a third place in pools for their first event. But no better way to welcome them back than a nice little smack on the ass. You know what I mean? Hey, welcome back to Halo. But really great, in all seriousness, to see Envy back in the mix.
Oh, for sure. And Thug Nasty and I were talking about it. We've decided that we're going to do first and second and let SSG take third.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah,
so I'm good with that.
Nice and easy, right? Welcome back. You get first or second, hopefully second, and then SSG can work their way through lower bracket.
And I see a comment there. W pickup from Cole Ashes. Are you allowed to say that?
Absolutely. Nemesis commented as well. Shout out to Nemesis. Yeah, of course. I'm supporting the boys. Like I said, Precision and Descendant, I have the utmost faith in. I'm a big fan of Thug Nasty. I'm excited that Envy's back in the scene. I think it's a great thing for the scene. But we also had another entrance into the scene, and this one probably not a lot of people predicted.
Before you switch over, I just got to say that was a really creative way to give props to everyone but Piggy and Yaxon. Anyways, continue on to the next.
I have grown in respect for Piggy, but I'm not ready to give props yet. We're not there yet.
What's the other org? Yeah, who else is coming in?
We have Omit. That, a lot of you might know if you follow Call of Duty, especially the Challenger scene, because they pretty much win every Challengers event in Call of Duty. But Omit making their way into Halo, which is really sick. Signing the roster of Collect, Hus, Ezo, and Mortally with coach, they didn't mention, Hoaxer. Oh, there he is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they had to put him in the comment. Oh, shoot. We forgot. We don't have edit tweet. Yeah, really happy to see for Hoax. That's my guy. Really happy to see him land on another home. That guy dude, he just hustles day and night. Like when he, the times in his life where he's been unsigned, he's just. It wouldn't surprise me if he was the one that set this deal up. He's the kind of guy to email everyone, get meetings with everyone. He does not. His grind never stops. Like whether or not he's on the sticks in matchmaking or not, he's grinding some aspect of the Halo world. So a huge signing for them. Interesting that I only know them kind of from challengers as well in Call of Duty. So it'd be cool to see them kind of in a main stage situation, right? Not just like the side league, not just like the open bracket. So and they definitely picked up a talented squad to do that. I personally am a massive Mortally fan. That dude since year one I felt like has just always been underrated. Ezo, I've been watching him since I saw him win the DreamHack Dallas Free For All in year 2. I got to meet him in person. Really cool guy. Obviously, Huss spent years together, right? And so glad to see him find a home, man. So this roster, I mean, and Collect rounding it out, the talent's all there, right? The talent's all there for Omit Halo. I know they got to feel good and confident going in, but also too I really hope for a lot of these new orgs jumping in. Like I know Envy understands this because the native connections, they understand how the Halo scene works. But for someone that's new like Omit, it's extremely competitive, man. Like if you get a top 16 or a top 12, like you can't sit there and think it was a failure or hang your hat too low. Like you are brand new with a brand new roster coming in, and the top 4, top 6, top 8, like we just talked about, is so competitive, man.
Oh yeah, I mean you're at a point in Halo where we're 4 years in. And this team is 2 weeks old, and they got to get their stuff together and be able to perform on one of the biggest stages of the year. So I think come in with the expectations that are realistic, whatever you believe those are for this team. I think if you come into this and go, oh yeah, my team's going to win the entire event, like, all right, man, like let's kind of set ourselves up for like reasonable success and then aspirations and goals long term, right? So come into this event, know that your team had 2 weeks to get their stuff together. Be excited to support the team, excited to be in the game, enjoy the fan base, really put yourself in there and kind of plant your seeds in terms of like, hey, we're here for the long haul, and then the success will come. That's kind of how I look at it, right? Like I know a lot of people on paper are looking at our roster like, oh, why the hell did they drop Precision? Why would they pick up Cherish and Avicii? They shouldn't have dropped both Precision and Huss. Unfortunately, stupidly of me, I spent 20 minutes this morning reading different Reddit threads on the competitive Halo Reddit subreddit, and just like that seems to be the common opinion, right? And I get it. Like I get on paper, it doesn't look like appealing. It's not shiny and flashy. It's not Optic. It's not Space Station. It's not Shopify. It's not like these teams that are, a bunch of players who are statistical anomalies. But there's a grander vision, and that's what we're aiming for, and we believe in that vision. It's just a matter of if we can put in the work and make that vision a reality. So I think it's the same thing for any other org coming in.
Yeah, I think your expectation, like you said, you got to have realistic expectations. I love that you nailed that on the head. Because, like, for example, let's say you come into this event, right? You're a top 12 seed at the moment, and you're thinking, hey, it would be great to get top 8, right? If you're looking to get top 8, I'm going to start there for this Omit roster. You're either going to have to beat TSM, Nemesis, Cloud9, or that Envy roster, right? And they're like, who knows how the brackets and everything else plays out, but it's like, and you can see there just in that, just to get top 8, right? If you want to get top 6, you have to probably beat either TSM or Nemesis or us. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like there are major roadblocks standing in the way. I've never seen it locked down, like probably since Halo 2, right? Where it's just locked down, where people are not letting new faces into the mix, right? And so tempering them expectations, like, and we haven't even talked about the dark horses, right? Gen G, like Ryan Noob and friends, Zero Tenacity, who you always bring up, another powerhouse from the EU region. We know that Ether's coming out of open in the first seed, like probably not dropping a game the entire time, and they're sick of getting top 12 as well, right? So there's just a lot of hungry talent out there, and you gotta understand that the vision is going to be long term. Like we're building a franchise, we're building a roster here, and there's going to be steps that have to be taken along the way. Granted, crazier things have happened, but when I look at that Omit roster, same thing with the Envy roster, I kind of see them both kind of having that top 8 ceiling. Like if they have a really good event, I could see one of them getting top 8. But man, it's almost impossible to predict outside of the top 4 at this point what's going to go down.
Oh yeah, I think was it you who pointed out who maybe Snakebite said at some point about like it's year 4 of Halo, everybody knows how to play the game.
Yeah.
And I think that's really true, and you see that, and that's why the competition is so close. Like, we're talking about top 8, but like there's also the world where like this Omit roster comes out and is firing on all cylinders, and I don't remember what pool they're going into.
They're in pool B right now, so it's Shopify and Nemesis, bro.
Yeah, and like there's a world where like they just come out swinging. Nemesis has a rough day, and they take down Nemesis, right? Like I don't think they're gonna take down Shopify, but like I
do you
wouldn't.
see them beating Nemesis though? Like in all seriousness though, because like if we look at Nemesis, I see them. That's a team that pretty much went toe to toe with Optic, right?
I think Nemesis should be top 4.
Optic won. Yeah, I think Nemesis has top 4 talent. I think if you do 10 events in a year, I think maybe 4 or 5 out of those events they're going to get top 4. Potentially.
Yeah.
So if you're saying that Nemesis is a top 4 roster, like, do we really think that Omit has that potential? Like, you think they're going to be competing with the top 4 off rip? I don't personally.
I don't either. Like if you 9 times out of 10 kind of thing, or like 8 matches out of 10, right? Like I don't think Omit wins 8. I think they have a chance of winning 2, but you never know, right? Like somebody could wake up not feeling well one day. Like somebody could just be in a bad mood. Somebody could just not be playing well. Like there's so many different factors going into it, and I think we're at the point in Halo 4 or in Halo year 4 where it really just comes down to who woke up better that day.
Mm-hmm.
Because all of these guys know how to play the game. I think Nemesis is going to look more well-rounded as a team for sure. Like they're going to look more cohesive at this point because this Omit team is a 2-week-old team. But like on just, taking that factor out of it, yeah, I think there's a chance, but it's not a good one.
Yeah, I've always told folks, I'm glad you brought this up. I've always told folks coming up in the scene that like when you go to a LAN, you kind of have to view it as 3 separate tournaments, and you got to earn the right to play in the next one, right? Like you have to earn the right to play on Saturday with your Friday play. You have to earn the right to play on Sunday with your Saturday play. And the thing is with these teams that have a little bit more chemistry, a little bit more continuity, like they've been there, done that. They know how to wake up every day and bring at least a consistent level of performance. And I would say that like even with us, that's been a huge stumbling block, right? We're like on a Friday, we might look like, dang, like they got second in their pool, like they're going in the winners. Saturday comes around and we just get rolled, right? So being able to wake up and piss excellence is a talent.
Yeah.
And something you got to work on. You know what I mean? So
literally, stay hydrated and piss excellence.
Yeah, we're really looking forward to seeing how Envy and Omit go, and also too, like, I mean, I'd love to see Native back in the mix, man. They're so passionate about Halo, and I know things didn't shake out the way they were hoping with rosters early on going into this year, but now they got the 5th seed, right? So let's see what they can do.
Yeah, right. I was waiting for them to like buy that roster from TSM just so they could fully reunite the whole gang. But I'm ready to talk about my favorite open bracket team.
Let's go.
Of all time.
Of all time.
Let's go. Other than us.
Yes.
My favorite open bracket team of all time.
Yes.
Can we just talk about this? Like out of nowhere.
Where did they come from?
This is like WWE Royal Rumble. Who's number 25 entering the ring? And then it's this roster. Like, what? Neurotical, Envied, Joey Hoey, and Diagram. And for those of you who don't know, Envied was, I can't remember his gamer tag before. He's one of the triplets, right? Suppress, Diagram, and whatever his name was before.
Wait, that's the other triplet?
Yes.
Is Envied?
Yes.
Really?
He changed his name, yeah.
Avenue? That's
yes.
Avenue?
So it's Neuronical, Avenue, Jazero, and Diagram.
That team just gets better every time I see them pop up on my screen.
You notice like there's duplicates?
No, I wasn't analyzing the picture. I just said, "Oh, look, they're hot," and they kept going. But no, like just seeing Joey Jazero, I was like, "No freaking way!" Like,
I'm so happy.
And then and then Neuronical as well. Like, just these people have just been gone. Diagram. I was literally thinking about the triplets. I was like, "How come we only ever hear about Suppressed anymore? Where has Diagram and Avenue been at?" And now to see them back, it's like I'm like, have they just been on Smurfs? Like, are half the people I think that are cheating me in matchmaking really just them? They're just playing on secret accounts. Like, because I have had, this is one of the times where it's like, when someone comes back, you start matching them in playlists. You're like, okay, cool. Like, he's getting back in the mix. Like, me and commonly playing together. It's like, oh, who knows what they're going to do? And then, but like for this, I had literally I could not smell this coming. I could not see this coming from a mile away. Haven't seen Jazero in like 2 years. Had no idea what was going on with the Twins. I thought Neuronickel had moved on to whatever he was doing next, So this is a crazy roster.
Bro, when Neuronickel was part of Complexity, he was balancing med school. Like,
yes.
Yeah, like I thought he was just on to bigger and better things past like his gaming career, right? Like he was on for the next chapter. He's ready to put that doctor instead of Mr. But like, bro, and then Jazero, like one of my favorite players of all time, having the honor
ever had.
of working with him. Like he was such a good, he's one of the like few players in my career that I've cried releasing him. Like I'm an emotional dude. And like having to drop Jazero, like I hung up that call and just was like tears rolling down my face. I was so sad because he's such a good dude.
He's the best.
Such a good dude. So I'm stoked. Yeah. Like if you can't find me, I'm behind them watching.
We're in the passion pit. I'm flying out just to cheer them on. I can't say enough good things about Jazero, man. Like one of my favorite teammates I've ever had. We had some great times together, shown up in big ways on LAN. And I'm just going to say it. The Halo scene is better with him in it. And I'm also going to say this roster is a problem. Like, I don't care what anybody says. Like, I don't even care what the scrim results look like online or anything like that. I don't know what they look like, but I know like we got a bunch of West Coast players and whatever. Like, I know for a fact that in the Passion Pit, this team is going to like ruin some people's days, especially because I don't think they played in the quals. Like, I don't think they have a single point to their names, bro. So shout out to Luminon Gaming for knowing and seeing talent and understanding like the seed doesn't matter, because this team is going to be taking someone's seed in round 1 or round 2 of Open.
Bro, if I had the budget, like they would have been showing up as Complexity White or Complexity Red or something. Like it's just, this is so fun. And I'm like, again, props to Luminon, like especially after Arlington being like, there was some drama after Arlington with like reimbursements and it got all put on Twitter and stuff. But like they bounced back, they dropped this roster announcement. I'm more stoked about this roster than their other rosters. No offense to them, but like I'm biased, right? Like these guys are goats. So I'm stoked to watch them. It's going to be a lot of fun. And like you said, man, like Neuronickel was nasty. Like
disgusting.
Jazero is such a good leader. And then you've got like 2 of the triplets who have always been disgusting, are always in those like 8s talks and circles, like playing with pros. They just never really got their chance to sign. I remember you and I talking about like, we thought there was a world where it was just going to be Boo Boo and the triplets.
I was just going to bring that up, dude. I was like, this brings me right back, because I still to this day can't believe that hasn't happened. I still can't believe that the 3 of them have never like teamed up, on LAN for a major. But this is a step in the right direction for me, man. I mean, 2 out of the 3, you're still getting 2 out of the 3 rings of power, right? It's like the Thanos glove. You're just like slotting in the gems. We got 2 of them. And then you got Jazero, who's just absolute vibe lord, and Neuronickel, who is fundamentally just disgusting, bro. Like there's not really a weakness there. I still like, when all the roster stuff was happening in the offseason, there was still a part of me that was like, oh, Boo Boo and the triplets is finally going to happen. Like, I'm ready to see the announcement. And it just has never happened. But, like, he'll play in every 8s tournament with them. Like, he was doing all kinds of stuff with them for a long time. And I was like, you're not sneaky. Like, I see what you're doing. Like, I understand the blueprint. Like, we've seen what twins can do in the scene, like, let alone triplets that are all on the pro level. So, glad to see at least 2 out of 3 back together again, man. And huge shout out to Luminon. But, yeah, I'm more excited to follow along with this roster on Twitter than probably any roster at the event outside of our own.
Bro, hear me out. Hear me out. This roster drops in the lower bracket of Open Bracket, but makes it out, and they go into Pool B, and we get Neuronickel versus Cycle on main stage.
Oof.
Talk about a storyline.
Yeah. You thought you'd gotten rid of me, but I've worked my way all the way back here. I've taken the long road back. Yeah. I just see it like raining. It's all dark, and like their hair is just like in front of the face, and they're standing face to face. Nah, super, super, super excited about that roster, man. And yeah, again, no points. So, someone's gonna look at their round 2 match and not be stoked.
Oh yeah, no, people are gonna see like Luminon Gaming, and they're gonna, which one?
Yeah, I love to see new orgs too, man. Like, I am really happy for Luminon. I did see a bunch of that drama. I am going to go ahead and say the players were fully in the wrong in that. That was some nonsense that I was watching unfold, especially when they came with the receipts and everything else.
Yeah.
And so to see them not get flustered, not feel, not lose face, and to still bounce back with the best open bracket roster I've ever seen in my entire life. I'm really excited for them. Which brings us to another topic that I know we wanted to discuss a little bit. Let's catch up a little bit on scrim scores, Nick. Let's see how everyone's doing. We got to do our typical space station / TSM check-in. Who's actually scrimming each other right now?
Yeah.
Two of the teams I want to know how they're doing. 5-5.
We'll check
Man.
that one first. And
Yeah.
it's 2-2 on the CTF right now. What are the odds?
That's insane. But, Manny fitting right back in like a glove. I'm sure TSM's so stoked to have him back. Looking at the stats, who's Lucid? Lucid's going off so far.
Yeah, and that's what I've noticed when I've looked at a lot of their recent scrim scores is Lucid seems to be finding himself. Like he's starting to look like world championship winning Optic Lucid, if that makes sense. And I don't think he was able to do that right away on this roster. So it's good to see him back doing his thing. I think this scrim probably isn't close if Stellar is like doing his normal craziness.
Oh,
but, yeah, I mean, this is impressive. 5-5. Like these are definitely two top teams, and this goes to show how close it is. And like all of these games, other than like this one, honestly, are pretty close.
Yeah, and TSM has got to know, like, they're not stupid. Trey's a really smart guy. They're all really smart people. They got to know that, hey, if we want to get back to where we think we should be, which is top 3, right? Like, that's their record of KCP. Like, if we want to get back there, the door is probably through Space Station Gaming, right? So we got to scrim this team. We got to touch them up a little bit. We got to see what they're bringing. We got to basically use this scrim as like intel, right? Every scrim leading into these events, especially this close, is like intel gathering as well as obviously practice, right? That's more on the coaching side, more on the analytics side, but super important to know your homework going into the event.
Yeah, you're getting your final reps in and kind of perfecting what you're trying to do and your strategies that you're trying to accomplish when it comes time for the event. But at the same time, like you said, you should be observing your opponent. You should be kind of making mental notes of like, oh, okay, they like to break our A-hold setup by doing this. Or, when they play for camo, they set up like this. And there's definitely some tendencies. There's definitely some patterns that you can notice, and that is a big part of this last week and a half, 2 weeks of scrims. So it'll be curious to see what they learn and what they pick up. But I mean, they're going blow for blow with one of the big 4, so props to them for that.
Awesome. Who else is scrimming right now? I know we're currently in the mix, aren't we, as well?
Yeah. So we're scrimming Tenrai. That's going to be an open bracket team. We talked about them a little bit, and a team that I honestly fully expect to come out of open bracket. With Envor, Ice Kid, Luini, and Super CC Evades.
Not if they match Luminon.
Not if they match. Not if they match their former Fnatic teammate in Jazero. That'd actually be a lot of fun to watch. I might watch that if that happens. But yeah, a strong team. I don't know what seed they are in open. I think they're probably number 2, and Dark Inside's number 1.
Well, not with Ether coming in, because Ether would take 1, right? Like, so
just for NA
in the region, yeah. In NA, these are definitely 2 of the top. I would say they're both top 3 for sure. I would imagine. I can't think of anybody else that would be higher than them. Yeah.
Speaking of Ether, they're scrimming Omit right now,
nice,
up 7-3. Nice. Ether's the truth, man. We scrimmed them. I think 2 or 3 times since coming back from Arlington, and like, they just don't miss. If they pick up Sniper, you lose the map. Here's
the deal. I love Ether. They know this. They message me all the time because I say things that they think I'm throwing shade, and I have to remind them I am a fan of you guys. I'm throwing shade again. They're the truth online. I need them to get better than top 12 at an event, and I've told each of them to their face in DMs or in person, you are way too talented to be stuck top 12. Like, period.
Yeah.
Being stuck top 12 is for people like me who were okay, but I could at least cheese my way into the top 12. When you're as talented as they are, I need them to break through and get top 8. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
they're the truth online. I still need to see them perform on LAN.
Yeah, it looks like I'm Tapping doing his thing, Drift doing his thing, Acid doing his thing. Lior is, the most recent addition to the team, but he's got some reps with them under his belt now because he joined in not long before Arlington, right? Like, it was right before the qualifier, I think.
Yeah.
So he's still relatively new to the mix, but that core 3, like, you can just tell, like, they're in sync. They know what they're doing. They're playing off each other well. They're a very aggressive team. It reminds me a lot of Shopify, just less stability in terms of like.
It's really interesting that they would be with Lior still over Atso, because Atso and Drift were together for so long, and I don't know if Atso just fell off in Infinite or something, but it's like with how much continuity that those two had, and with tapping, like Atso Drift tapping was like a unit for a long time. So
Yeah.
it's I think more than anything else, it speaks to the confidence they have in Lior than it speaks to where Atso's at, that they would opt to go with a little bit of a younger star in the making kind of player there.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Lior could be like the next up for the LATAM scene, maybe, and that's what they saw. And
Yeah,
I've definitely seen him have his pop off moments, especially like in Arlington. I saw him having pop off games, and I kind of went into that skeptical of how he was going to perform, but he's stepping up.
look at that Nemesis score, bro. Oh my god,
Nemesis, the truth out of EU, just putting down Zero Tenacity, and it's so funny because these are the two big dogs in EU, right? And they just trade blow for blow constantly, but usually it's a one-sided just Nemesis, beating the socks off of Zero Tenacity.
That's one of those belt to booty type series there.
Yeah.
The funniest thing about Nemesis, I mean, look at the freaking logo. Look at the little dude right there.
It's
by
so
the score.
troll.
It's like that's the worst way to lose. Like you got this like trolley org where it's like they're constantly making jokes about you, and they're just like, it's like losing to the Joker. It's like nobody wants to lose to the Joker, bro. Oh man. And Gen G now 7-10 against Amit. Shout out to them for playing 17 freaking games, dude.
That's Rhinu, man. Rhinu won't stop. Rhinu won't start early. He'll start at 6:30 p.m. Eastern, but he'll go until midnight.
That is, dude. I just remember back in the day, dude. Like we only had 11 game types. So we would scrim all 11, and that was like 2.5, maybe 3 hours, and that felt like forever. I don't know how you guys do it nowadays. Like all the more reason why I could not compete, could not keep up with what you guys are doing. You guys are having to scrim 17, 18 game types and still not get to all of them.
Oh, that's yeah, bro. It's so tough and it's so frustrating as a coach. I'm going to vent for a second. It is so frustrating as a coach. If you're a player, and I'm talking to any players watching this, and you go, oh, I'm checked, or oh, I'm not locked in, or any of that bullshit. I'm sorry for my language, but just any of that BS. I have to sit here and I don't get to play a video game. I get to watch you play a video game for the same amount of time, and you expect me to be checked in or like locked in the exact same time frame? You get to move your thumbs. I get to move my eyeballs. We're not the same. Stay locked in. Yeah. I'm so annoyed by hearing that. Oh, I can't focus. Don't talk to me about focus. I'm bored out of my mind, and I don't want to watch you make dumbass decisions on the map. But here we are, locked in.
Some of these dudes have never had to work a real day in their life, and it shows, especially when it's like scrims. Like you can't lock in for a 4 or 5 hour shift to play a video game and get paid for it. F out of here with that, bro. Like that's insane to me, dude. Like
everybody needs to work in like the food industry at some point before they become a pro gamer, so they can learn personal skills and they can learn like work ethic.
Yeah.
It's old.
It's a whole different.
We
are, bro. We are, bro. We've hit that point now. We're just the grumpy old men in the scene. Whatever. We'll just be grumpy all the way to the bank.
Going back to the subject at hand, this scrim is interesting. I know Gen G just came back from a really long break, so I don't want to look too deep in it. And they were only down 20 kills, so not even 20 kills. What is this? 14 kills. So like being down 14 kills, but down 3 maps, like clearly it was just like a little bit of like being out of sync, a little bit of lack of OBJ efficiency maybe, and Omit took the scrim win technically because of that, but still interesting, because they're still a really good team. Here's an interesting one too. Dead Inside, Dark Inside, whatever you want to call them. Being the number 1 seed in open bracket for NA, I believe. Kid Nasty, Lido, Morgan, Sylvanic. I mean, they just got rinsed.
They got rinsed, but these are the scrims that you build upon if you want to eventually break into the pros. Like you have to get reps against pros. You can't just like be the best open team, get to LAN, and every time you make it out of open and champ bracket, you get ran through by all the pros because you didn't have the reps, right? So it can be painful, and trust me, I've literally been right there. But if you can take a little lesson every time, and apply that to your game, apply it to your team, and not get checked and stay bonded together, this is how you build and make moves to eventually break in, right? So different teams in different phases of their careers, like I talked about Sylvanek, he's always been like a top AM kind of dog, and I really hope that, even though they got 12-0 in that scrim, I hope they were like locked in the whole time. I hope they weren't just getting checked and throwing it. I hope they were like talking through things. I hope they were using it as an opportunity to learn. And from what I understand, like with like Morgan and Lido, some of these guys, like they're good dudes with good, like, good solid heads on their shoulders. So hopefully they were able to take these losses as lessons and improve their game.
That's good to hear. Yeah, I know very little about that roster other than just seeing their names around. We scrimmed Cloud9 yesterday. This was a good scrim. They were up like 4-1 or 4-2 at one point, and 4-2. And we brought it back strong and finished strong. So
how's Avicii been doing? How's that been going with Avicii and Cherish? I guess, like, how are the new additions fitting in? Like, what are some of the growing pains? What are some of the things that you think have been shining bright already?
Yeah, I think what we expected of the two of them is we're getting. I think Avicii can be a really phenomenal player. He's young, he's up and coming, he's got mechanics out the wazoo. It's just a matter of like keeping him thinking about the game state and not just me see person, me kill person mindset, which I think is a problem a lot of people don't understand. Like they'll be
that's
like,
90% of gamers in general, any game, period. Like most people, it's that simple.
And realistically, like in Halo, like people look at, because we have these in detailed stats, at the end of every game, they're like, oh, I dropped so much damage. And it's like, okay, but like how much of that was you shooting across map? That's useless damage, right? Like, so I think he's like super eager to learn, super eager to grow. He's starting to find himself like comfortable in the system a little bit that we've kind of created. So I'm excited to see how he continues to grow. And he's been stepping up a lot and, going, oh, I messed this up, or like he's recognizing when he makes bad plays, rather than us saying, hey, you messed that up, you do this next time, which is huge, right? Like if they can recognize it themselves, like that means they know the right decision is there, they just didn't see it in the moment. And the more reps you get of that, the quicker you get, and then you start making the right decisions. And this is not often, this is just like when the mistakes do happen, right? Cherished, I think the biggest thing that I wanted to work with him on was like just his leadership skills and kind of hone that. Like, how do you give feedback? Because I think he has a really good mind for Halo. There are some aspects of the game that he and I don't 100% see eye to eye on. Like he sees a play differently than I see a play, but I'm okay with that. And I think he is too. And so my main thing, and I've told these guys this, forever, is I don't care if we make the worst play possible or the best play possible, as long as we're doing it as a team. Whatever that play is.
I've always said one person doing the right thing by himself is still worse than 4 people doing the wrong thing together. Like
exactly.
You can make a lot happen when you're working together and when you're just using numbers and using teamwork. So I would agree with that 1,000%.
And you see that in plays, like if you watch Shopify like closely, right? Like I like watching them because they can make bad plays individually, but they're so good at playing off of each other that they just end up being on the same page, even if it's a bad play, and it works out because they have the mechanical skills to back it up. So I think that is what you should try to emulate, because it is more recreatable, especially in high pressure situations, than something where like a Ryan Noob system, where like, okay, here is the statistically highest probability of success play for us to make. Recognize that every single time. You need to recognize that, because that's the play Ryan's going to try to make, and you need to play off that. And sometimes, like when it's clicking, when everyone's seeing those plays, it works really well. Hell, they put us down at Arlington with it. When it's not working, they lose a scrim to omit, right? So it's like it's super hit or miss. So I think that's what we're trying to work on. I think Cherish is really growing in his leadership, and the thing I love too about these two guys is like every piece of feedback they're given, you see them start to implement it right away. Like I have a conversation with Cherish after scrim one night, and I'm like, hey, like think about what their perspective, like here's how you might be able to handle like delivering that feedback in a way that they're going to hear it and it's not going to fall on deaf ears. And the next day he's like immediately implementing it. And same thing with Avicii. Like you say, hey, in this situation, maybe you can play it this way. Next scrim, that situation comes up, he's playing it the other way, he's finding the success, and he's like making great plays and making great calls. So I'm really excited about the ceiling of this team. I wish we had more time to reach it before the event, because I think that would show people the vision that we're going for. But I'm also confident that we can get a lot done in these 2 weeks or week and a half at this point.
Yeah, I'm feeling really confident as well, and looking forward to seeing how the boys do. One of the things I noticed that it just dawned on me, like I'm not seeing Optic anywhere.
Yeah, they scrimmed. It was interesting actually. I didn't watch it myself, but apparently they did this scrim. So against the Envy roster, 7-7 in maps, which is super impressive. Like
Yeah,
trading blow for blow with Optic is a big feat. Um, and apparently, like on the Optic streams, like they were super checked and pissed. And I don't know why I wasn't there. Maybe
yeah.
whoever told me that was
Maybe
misinterpreting it.
rust. Maybe they haven't been playing and they're frustrated because they're not where they want to be.
But clearly they bounced back because the next day, let's see, 5-11 was this, 5-10. So yeah, the next day they 13-0'd Cloud9.
What if you and I are just like completely wrong and Envy just comes out and gets like third?
I'd be happy for Ethan. I'd be or Precision.
Like,
I'd be happy for Descendant, right? Like I think the potential is there. It's just like, can they get it together? Like, can they
I mean,
consistently perform that way?
if your potential is 7-7 with Optic, like, and you know, as a relatively new team, like, I mean, you're just raising my expectations for LAN. So we'll see if they're able to perform. Right? That's impressive.
I want to keep talking about Ether for a second though. Like 6-5 against TSM, but TSM beats FaZe 8-5 or whatever. Like, Ether's the truth, man. I think people are sleeping on this team.
You're the truth online.
Yeah,
and I love them.
That is a factor.
I love them, but they're the biggest online warriors I've ever seen. I want to see them freaking
Shopify doing Shopify things.
15-1 over SSG. Good lord. But Space Station 13-3. I mean 11-3 over FaZe though.
Yeah. And that's the thing too. Like so it's funny seeing this scrim result 14-0 over Envy for me. I'm going right past your Space Station comment into Shopify. 15-1 over Space Station, 14-0 over Envy, but the day before this we scrimmed Shopify, and like we're one of the only teams who's taken 4 maps off them in a series. And like that's not one of the big 4, big 3.
Yeah.
And honestly, a lot of these maps would have gone in, like they were close, right? Like,
I mean, I'm happy you guys made it through 16 games.
yeah, right. Like that was like one of the days where it's like I saw like glimpses of the vision, right? Like I picture that like white hallway in the Matrix where there's all those doors, and like I could see the end of that hallway for a moment there. In that scrim, even the maps we were losing, we were playing like how we want to play the game, just like losing fights. So I'm excited, man. I'm really excited for this event. I'm excited to see what's to come. I'm excited to why are we so there we go. And I'm excited to like just watch how the competition unfolds.
Yeah, same. I'm also really excited for next week's episode where we get to finally dive into some matchups and
are you gonna believe me on Nemesis now?
Cool. I mean, I'm gonna be the one predicting them super high this time. I'm gonna get ahead on that one. We'll have to do the full breakdown. We'll get the Nick, because I think you beat me in picks for the last event. I think your picks were closer. I don't think either of us had expected a couple of things. I mean, a few things in there, but you had some really good picks for last event. So we'll see if you're able to go 2 for 2, or if I can tie this up and get in the mix with some good picks for DreamHack. But yeah, a lot of I mean, as if it wasn't stacked with talent enough in the scene, we now have Luminon coming in, adding more talent, looking so good.
Wins the event.
Were they just going to win the whole thing? We don't have any more room for talent. They're just going to stuff themselves in here and get top 4 really quick. No, I'm really excited to see them back. If you can't tell, we both are. And also, welcome back to Envy. Welcome to Amit, to Halo. We're really glad to have you guys. Looking forward to seeing how DreamHack plays out for them. Hopefully, if they set their expectations right, they'll come away from that event encouraged and inspired and ready to build on that for the rest of the season. But yeah, man. Nick, closing thoughts. Let the folks know where they can find you. We're over the hour mark. Figure we'll call it here. Let people know what you're up to and where they can find you.
You can find me at Die Ashes. I'm opening Pokemon cards, and make sure you follow Complexity because they're helping us put this together. I want to give a shout out though, because it dawned on me that we're not only in year 4 of Halo Infinite, but we are still adding big name, good orgs to the game 4 years into the esport. That is kind of unheard of when you think about it. Like, you have your Rainbow Sixes that have been around for a really long time now, League of Legends, like all of those big games. But like, props to the team at HCS. Like, we obviously don't always agree with every single decision, but we're proud to be partners of theirs, and it's awesome that they've created something that is still appealing to new orgs to get involved in. So special shout out to them for making that happen, because I love that.
I thought you were going a different direction with that. I thought you were going to be like, special shout out to us. We've been duos for 4 years now. Been riding together, 100 Ashes all the way through Infinite to the moon. But that being said, you can find me, HunterJJX, Twitch, TikTok, Twitter, Justin UTW on Instagram, because that's a whole different world. I just do music stuff on there. But yeah, thank you for joining us so much for opening and break. That being said, follow Complexity Halo Complexity on Twitter. Support the team. We want to see you guys show up and show out at DreamHack Dallas to support the boys. We're looking forward to it. Thank you guys so much again for watching. We'll see you guys right here next Tuesday for our official DreamHack Dallas predictions episode. We'll see you guys then. Peace, guys.
See ya.